opportunity. So thank you very much. And
Welcome, sir.
so very quickly, see the presentation as usual in the Agri Information Series, the structure is divided into half an hour lecture, and then we take a few questions and wind it. And by any chance, we should be able to wind it by 4 o'clock. So that's how it is going to be there. And now, gentlemen, there are so many startups, and then, today we have a beautiful agro ecosystem for the startups. So there are a lot of pitch funding coming. There are a lot of angel investors coming, especially in the agri sector. See, my emphasis is going to be how we evaluate the startups in agri. And then, I'll not be talking much about the Uber or the other startups. Of course, everywhere the startup culture, the startup ecosystem is in place. And then with special emphasis to, why the agri startups, what should be their bottleneck, and how they find their markets and how they should pitch themselves. So recently I conducted a course on startup culture in horticulture. That was in June 28th to 30th. So that was a sponsored program for Manage. And then I have been on the jury panel of the evaluation of startups for various awards and so on and so forth. So what is that we'll be looking at the startup and why should it fail? So I'm not here to do a postmortem sort of an analysis. We are not going to cut the dead bodies and find what should be the cause of death and whether the startup suffocated or there was gangrene or whatever. I'm not going to tell you about that. But at a very generic level, we are going to discuss that, especially in the 6,48,000 villages of India, how the startup culture should be there and whether can they make money, and then who are the people who are coming into the agri startup and why are they living their very cozy software jobs. And, I find a lot of other than agri people coming into agri startup. So I will be using some of these things to very quickly drive home the point. So these are all some base information about myself. So last time we told you that, Gyan, Vigyan or Abhiyan. See, there are three very important issues in a startup, or when you want to take the agriculture knowledge, you should have a knowledge which is full of experience. And then, see, the rural folk knows of which is going to sell. See, I'm talking of two fronts. One is the input factorization. The other one is at the output commercialization. So in both the cases, the startups can do a lot of business in the rural areas in agri. Either you can help our farmers by giving them and establishing a very fantastic supply chain, giving them inputs at a cheaper cost, aggregating the whole service. That could be one sort of knowledge and science you can do it. The other part is, once when their outputs are in place, whether it's a fortified products. I've been a consultant for IFCO of late. We have been promoting this fortified bajra, wheat and all that in various parts. And we're also, I told you in my last lecture when we talked about the rejuvenating soils, organic farming or the zero-based natural farming. So many of these issues are there. And then, last time I still remember Rajni Jain asked me a question that, sir, what is your opinion? And then why we cannot take some of these agri startup ideas into a very commercial scale? Obviously, there is a lot of hard work, but there is no money around. That was my answer last time I told. And with the same thread, we continue today with more focus on how with the startups, why they fail, what is their enthusiasm. So whether the science has failed or the wisdom has failed or the campaign has become too much for people to handle. Suppose in movies and all that, sometimes there is more publicity than required and they end up in failure. And sometimes, some movies, very small budget movies, nobody thought that the Kashmir Files will become a very hot rage. It became, oh, fantastic. They donated 200 crores to the Prime Minister Fund. So I'm really puzzled. So every time, in the evening, I have a habit of just strolling around in and around my house, and, I see various small roadside hotels, and then I see big hotels. I myself eat something in the evening, some snacks, and then every time, I keep analyzing them. See, on an academic front, of course, they will be asking, sir, why are you seeing us like this? Why do you ask questions? Why don't you silently eat a masala dosa and get lost? So I said, no, not only eating the dosa, I'm really wonderstruck why some hotels, there's a lot of sales volume, a lot of rush, and Why in some hotels, absolutely nothing. Although they give you valet parking, but no customers. But, there is a hotel very near my house. It's called the Krishna Davangere Benne Dosa. I eat it morning and evening. I don't know when this addiction will go. So I was analyzing that fellow's business model. The same thing will take it to a startup with a higher investment and so on and so forth. Absolutely brilliant. It's all fresh. Yeah, coffee. So, yeah, just a minute. My lady is here. I'll just... ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೊಡಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ನಡೀತಿದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಇಲ್ಲೇ. So every time I wonder why some small side road hotel is making a huge business and the big fellow with capex and opex, I tell my students many times. I will tell you, I'm just coming to that. Capex refers to the capital expenditure, opex refers to the operational expenditure. I think any management student of mine will tell you what it is. So now even you can see your own small budget films, or you can state it can be Microsoft, it can be Agri Startup, it can be IFCO, it can be Swiggy, Zomato, so on and so forth. Amazon is going on the loss. So now when the capital expenditure or the fixed cost is very huge, obviously when you have to break even, the internal rate of return has to be very high, and we don't know when you will break even. I asked these questions to my friends. I have a lot of economics friends, in my lunch group. And although I have left Hyderabad, every day we keep having heated discussion, whether you want to increase the capex or you want to increase the operational expenditure. See, some people, they don't break even. A small hotel, I'm giving an example, hiring too many laborers, too many chefs, that like, Kingfisher, he hired all the beautiful girls of India and they were all the air hostess. And, when you go into Kingfisher, you were getting absolutely 25 years younger and getting a very high octane in your blood. So, but that did not take off. Whereas the Deccan Aviation, of course, afterwards they all merged and Gopinath sold it. So finally, the low-cost airline are today, the train fares are shooting up because suddenly the airfares have become costly. So obviously they'll not be able to break even, and the very intense competition for both the quality, the product, the price, the promotion. So all these things is, so therefore a sound business model, as my colleague, my friend Dr. Ranjit Kumar keeps saying, he's an economist. He works at NAM. So the discussion is, so how are you going to make the interplay of the 4 P's, the product, price, place, and promotion? So how are you going to have a sound business plan? And then how is that you are going to take up? So the whole argument today, in under next 20 minutes, is going to go around this. Very quickly, I'll be using only slides to just drive home my point. I'm like an advocate, I'm just fighting the case for these startups and things like that. So why is it that they fail to take off? So many times, see, the maximum percentage, even my friends vouch for it, there is no market need, but you have an idea. See, it is like too many universities, too many private universities, everybody opening an MBA college, everybody opening an internet service, absolutely no demand. So the number of suppliers have become more than the number of people who demand for it. So running out of cash, obviously very, very high operational expenditure, and then not the right team. See, just because you're, I keep telling my friends also, just because you're having a PhD in the interview board, when you go on, I've been attending so many interviews. So who is successful in an interview? You may have a PhD and you may have a postdoctoral MBA and so on. It only the certificates tell that you are efficient, but nobody has ever tested your effectiveness. I'm telling you this. So it might not be the right team. Simply by having PhDs on your board, I don't think you can make a business. I'll give you some examples where I was a jury, and then how they have taken off a very beautiful business. So they get out-competed, and I think there are too many competitors around, especially in the too many mobile apps coming today, especially in the agri sector. Every now and then they come out with the mobile app, and what is that they're going to do? They're not the decision-taking mobile apps. They're only very static information. They give you some knowledge, and again you have to browse, and everything is not available in a single click. So they are outdated. The pricing is a very high issue. See, especially it is something like eating in a roadside or a small Mofussil hotel, vis-a-vis going to Taj a group of hotels and having a masala dosa. So the cost, the operational expenditure and the capital expenditure is very high. And then, so in order to have a break even and recover the fixed cost, you should have a very high business volume. You should have a very high sales volume, and the product may be poor. So, don't mistake me. I'm not, my talk may give you a sense of feeling that I'm against the so-called big houses. See, today, if a software can be delivered by a small startup in Bangalore, why will people go to Adobe or Microsoft or Google? See, today, the AWS, the Amazon Web Services have taken a very good thing. So now, similar products can't our Indian software startups do it? They can also do it. They can deliver it. I tell all my relatives and all my friends who are in the software, I said, you leave America and come and work here at 1/3 or lesser the cost. And India is already Atmanirbhar, and in the Azadi Ke Amrit Mahotsav, definitely we are number one. Don't think we are number 2 or 3. So don't go up with those figures. I am telling you, the Indian startups are number 1. High innovative, I will just show you. So there might not be a business model. So therefore, I wish that the Indian agri startups come out with this hybrid business model of both the service, the quality, then the Azadi Ke Amrit Mahotsav, which has just been kicked off about 2-3 days back. So we have to go with this model, and that's the reason. So obviously, the very first issue is this agri startup, especially in India. There is simply no market and too many competitors. I can just simply tell you this. See, everybody, suppose, I think most of my agri information colleagues are be eating in and around Bangalore and all that. You see, why is that a hotel industry can make business, and why is that a taxi service like Ola and Uber makes business? There is no loss. Because let me tell you, today taking and buying, see, I have 2 cars. What is the use of having 2 cars? I cannot get parking. And it's very risky to drive in Bangalore with this traffic. So everybody prefers a pickup and a drop. A Ola, Uber, Ola, Auto, my goodness, they make huge business. So obviously, if something is centered around the market, you survive in a startup culture. So now, very recently, what are the indicators we say? I've been giving a lot of good marks for this particular startups. I'll give an example why I rated this startup very high, and what are the indicators I see when I evaluate a startup, especially in Indian context. What is that we want in the Atmanirbhar Bharat, and what is that jury like me are looking at? Basically, the originality of the idea, whether you have a value proposition. So whether the problem addressed is a very severe one. So I'm giving the example of banana products and banana fiber. I rated this among about 10-15 startups. I gave a very good marks, and they will be getting some award, of course, very confidentially. So now, why did I choose this particular startup? See, today banana is grown throughout the country. It may be in the northeast, it may be in the south, it may be in Maharashtra. You have all sorts of banana, the Robusta, the Cavendish, and so on. And banana byproducts, the fiber, the stem. See, everything is definitely made reusable, not just the banana fingers and the banana hands where you do some chips, the banana powder. So there is a lot of technological advancement coming in this particular sector. And then there are so many products of banana, especially market fit, readiness of the product for the market. See, I'm not talking somebody goes to Coimbatore and brings a packet of chips. That is only for the fancy part of it. Now taking the entire banana product into a next scalable business model is what we have been looking. Obviously, we told it. Then how much of revenue can be generated out of this? I've been looking the potential profitability and how can they sustain. See, in case of banana, there's nothing like a Kharif, Rabi, and summer, or there's no question of seasonality. And throughout the 3 seasons, you get banana, one or the other. Especially, our Yalaki banana, what we get only in Bangalore. We don't even get this Yalaki banana elsewhere. But, how best to, segmentation, targeting, and positioning, and then, leveraging this particular unique value proposition, UVP, we say. So how can we take it to the next level? Obviously, we have a lot of the team experience, competency, a lot of banana scientists. In fact, ICAR has got a National Research Center on banana, which is situated at Tiruchinappalli in Tamil Nadu. Then a lot of number of farmers have been supported by this particular enterprise. And obviously, there's a lot of employment generation in the banana industry alone. And umpteen number of products have been come. And obviously, see, if you say banana, this is the only fruit which comes to your mind. See, rest are all very seasonal. If you go to mango or whatever, of course, even pineapple is plenty. But I'm now talking about banana, societal and environmental impact, and especially when the banana fiber and all can go into the soil as a fertilizer, as a mulch or whatever. So therefore, these things have been rated quite high. So people are preparing banana wine, banana beer, banana puree, banana jams, banana sauce, banana drink, and banana fiber. My goodness, people are going into the textile here. We have a banana water, liquid fertilizer. Okay, and all these things also help in natural and organic farming. And that is the reason, the banana-based startups we have been promoting, and I have been giving quite good marks for these guys. So obviously everybody knows what is a startup up to 10 years, and then still they have not come to 100 crore because everybody doesn't become a unicorn. So obviously this is one reason why many startups are still doing. And obviously 45% of India's population is under 35. So a lot of potential. Galati mabidi nimsha. Hey, Galati mabidi. So obviously the young population are the one which are going for the startups. And obviously India is ranked 137th. Amil marbodalla idna. Okay, then the best performer in startups of Gujarat, and then obviously top performers have been Karnataka, Kerala, and Rajasthan. Obviously, today Bangalore, I'm very proud to be a Bangalorean and born and brought up here, and then becoming an agri scientist myself. We are the startup hub. So agriinformation.com is situated in Bangalore. So we will have more such lecture series in startups. So look at this dark red. These are all where the startups have taken place. Other states which are lighter red are yet to take off. So you can see where Karnataka, Telangana, obviously with Hyderabad, and obviously since although Kerala is having a lot of intelligent people, but not many enterprises are coming. So did you understand the paradoxical situation here? We don't want very intelligent people. Please understand. We want entrepreneurs like Tamil people, our Kannada guys, Telangana guys, Maharashtra, fantastic. Gujarat, UP and Delhi are not bad. Please, please don't think that I support Tamilians and Kannadigas and all that. Please kindly don't mistake me. Just a statement. See, why is that the entrepreneurship is here, and the Kerala is supposed to be a very high HDI, Human Development Index, with fantastic degrees and a very healthy population, highly educated population, okay, and then high income. Okay, there are three parameters in the Human Development Index. One is the income, the health, and the education. All three are very high for Kerala. Nobody can beat. That is number one in India. But look at the startup scenario. My Tamil friends and our Karnataka guys we were overshot, especially in Bangalore. I don't find any difference between a Kannadiga and a Tamilian. It's actually both states are merged, except we have two different chief ministers. That's all. So this is the startup scenario, and obviously India is a very leader when you compare with the other countries. Okay, only Japan. We are actually, India and China are very close neck to neck. Why people, they say no to start a startup? What is the hiccups? Either you are too young, or you are inexperienced fellow, you are not determined enough. Okay, you have a lot of money, but you are not smart. Okay, you are a new guy in a business. You don't know how to do your business plan. You don't know how to find your customers. You don't know what is the break-even point. And there are no co-founders. You have not inherited like Ambani and Adani. See, even our Ambani, two brothers, the Mukesh Ambani fellow, he bids for the 5G, and then the Adani fellow has outbided them. But that Anil Ambani fellow, although he also came with the Reliance Communication long back, it was a failure. So between brothers, there is a lot of difference in the entrepreneurship and startup culture. I don't know, you should tell me. So therefore, the family to support, either you are a family business or you are coming out and you are afraid of commitment, and there is no pilot scaling, and then the upscaling and downscaling and downsizing. So all these, they say no, a startup can start. It is like you and me getting married, See, at the time of marriage, will anybody put a business plan for marriage? The moment you see a girl, you say, oh, romba pudichirukku. Oh, I like the girl. Oh, it's very fine. But afterwards, when you analyze the break-even point, I tell my wife, we are married for 32 years. So then many times, we analyze why we have taken the decision to marry. So because we did not have MBAs in those days, I was a very immature fellow. 1 minute. ಸರ್ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಧ ಗಂಟೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ಲಾ? ನೀವು ಕೊಟೇಶನ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಕೊಟೇಶನ್ ಕಳಿಸಿ. ಅದೇ ನಮಗೆ ಕೊಟೇಶನ್ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ನೀವು 13, 11 ಅದೇನಿರ್ತೋ ಪರ್ ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಇಷ್ಟು, ಇದು ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್, ಟೋಲು ನಾವೇ ಕಟ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಅದ್ರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ನಂಬರು ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಡಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಓದ್ಸಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ದಂಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆ ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಹಾರ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅಂತ ಓದ್ಸಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಧ ನಿಮಿಷ ನಾನು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ನೀವು ಕೊಟೇಶನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿ, ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ಹೆಸರು ಮಾತ್ರ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರಿಬೋದು. ನಾನು ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ. Some of the administrative things. So therefore, guys, see, what I wish to say is, had anybody thought that at the time of marriage we will fail or something as a startup? Nobody would have even thought about it. The moment the boy and girl is shown, they say, oh, I like the girl, I like the boy, so within a week you get me married. And people are pressurizing their parents, get me married soon. So that could be some of the reason, and lot of reasons why the e-commerce sector witnessed maximum shutdowns. Especially, people thought they will open a mobile app and then they will have an internet thing, and they can make business without going to the field and all that. They have shut down because not able to generate the volume of business as like others. See, especially agri sector is a tricky one. Today also ICR, they have got so many mobile apps. Everything is not a decision taking app, it is all decision support app. They're all static apps. I told you last time also that we have developed an Arka Vyapar, and then still we are struggling. See, because in agriculture, the buyer and seller can be the same person. So now, unfortunately, in the mobile app, when we are giving this SMS authentication, we are finding it difficult. The moment you register yourself as a buyer, it is not allowing you to register as a seller. So we are now stuck up with this software. Of course, we are working on some of those bugs. So the e-commerce sector witnessed, and Delhi also witnessed a lot of shutdowns. I don't know why Bangalore startups are very good. Maybe because the employees are all very hard working, or Delhi fellows are very high-fi fellows. Their capital expenditure and operational expenditure is very high, and they suddenly start putting a tie and come with a, okay, bhai, Mercedes wala car. So I think their operational expenditure is high. That's why they're shutting down. 50% of the founders post-shutdown have joined another company. So, once, somebody told, who is going to be a management professor like me? So the fellow who has failed in management, and see, I was a sales officer long back, about 35 years back. There was no internet and all that. So I was working for a feed company. That was called Sifi Feeds. I was working in Mysore. So I had to sell 10 tons in the first month. So then, I was also planning to come for my master's. I had just got a degree in BSc Agriculture. So I was unable to sell the 10 tons in 1 month. So my employer told, no, Dr. Rao, Mr. Rao. Mr. Rao, we have got no other option but to fire you. So very reluctantly, I was almost fired. So I resigned and said, sir, no problem, sir. I will learn some more management, and like I'm giving a lecture in agriinformation.com. One day I will become a management professor, which I became. But please remember, I was a failure in sales. I could not sell 10 tons of it was simply a cattle feed and poultry feed, 5 tons of poultry feed, 5 tons of cattle feed. I had to sell it in Yelahanka. Today, Yelahanka is a big city, but a lot of poultry and dairy guys were there. I couldn't sell it. So that is the reason I told you, especially CapEx and OpEx. So the product might not be fitting the market. So you're not able to build the right team. So you're building a wrong product. See, now, I'm even now telling, McDonald's is there and Domino's is there. All of you have eaten. Every day, me and my daughter, we eat. McDonald's is a very hot property. Please understand. And don't think that, I'm campaigning for McDonald's. Okay, I'll just be having a cup of coffee. McDonald's is a hot property, but Domino's is not. Many people came with the same version. There is one more Goli Pav. I think that also gives similar products like our McDonald's. Same bun and vada pav, Goli Pav, all that. Everywhere down the line, I can tell you about this particular example, why McDonald's wins and the Goli Pav fails. Main thing is their mayonnaise, the cheese, they're all rotten. But McDonald's gives fresh bun, fresh cheese, fresh business model. So the wrong product, not the right team, the product and market doesn't fit. See, there is a McDonald's restaurant about 6 kilometers from my house. And quite difficult to go, after that 8th mile near Dasrali, I have to take a left turn, go to the McDonald's. I take all this risk because my daughter says, Appa, don't bring anything from Domino's or Goli Pav. Go to McDonald's and bring, then only your daughter will be happy. So to satisfy this young girl of mine, so I go all the way and do it. So the product fit in the market. So obviously I told you lack of unique value proposition. There's no persistence. Okay, lot of local vendors are there. Especially, this dosa, idli and things, the local vendors whose operational expenditure is less only does it. And obviously there's the hotel industry or a dosa industry or an idli industry is not dependent on your buildings and cars you own. It is a highly labor intensive industry where fresh chutney and fresh batter has to be done every time with the optimal fermentation. That only can win in the market. If somebody thinks that by giving a 2-acre land and giving an inlet and outlet and drive through and drive in and drive away, you can make business, you are wrong. Especially I am talking to you about this masala dosa, Davangere Benne dosa, where 4 laborers, 2 fellow for the chutney, 2 fellow for the batter, and 2 fellows for continuously putting fresh, hot things. The moment the heat is lost, the value of the dosa is lost. So therefore, these are all some unique value proposition, persistence, okay, failing to change the direction. Due to love of their initial, see people, there was a saying, Teri Meri Kahani. So in that, Himesh Reshamia says, just because you are very near Taj Mahal and you are seeing a building, you become possessive that Taj Mahal is yours. If you work for an organization for 30 years, you think that the organization, you own it. You don't own it. You have been employed only for 30 years. And one day you have to quit the organization. So these people don't realize, and the moment they start a venture, they think they are all the babies. See, just because somebody is my daughter, somebody is my son, and for me, she or he may be the best. But they have to face the world in JEE, the competition. They have to become a STEM graduate, that earn their livelihood and go into the marriage market, win there. See, the life is fully for them. My love can actually harm the children. So there are no mentors or advisors, and then slowness to launch. Okay, then the CEOs and funds are unable to make decisions. Just because you have an MBA, you cannot make a decision. See, I have taught MBA and I am the consultant for IFCO and all that. And I'm hired as a consultant. So why did they hire Dr. V.K. Rao as the consultant for IFCO? Because half of my students are working there. So they have seen me both in the class and both in the field. Sir, you please tell what is the management decision, whether hiring a taxi is good or owning a taxi is good. I said, bloody idiots, hiring a taxi is always good because you have to reduce the capital expenditure. Literally your operational expenditure will increase, it doesn't matter. But still you can break even faster. And don't employ everyone. It is like a permanent marriage and a live-in relationship. So in a permanent marriage, you have to shell down a lot of money. If you take a divorce and then, if you put too much of money in the buildings and all that. You know how these Marwadis make business? They don't own any building. They take everything on rent, run it. So most of them is not capital expenditure, but it's all operational expenditure. So that is how you will improve. And everything you have to take a loan and start a business. If you put your hard-earned money or your father's property into the venture, you will not be in a hurry to recover that fixed cost, and your internal rate of return will be very low and you cannot get the break even. No business plan. Obviously, you don't know what is 4P, You don't know who your competitors, you don't know the ratios, you don't know cost benefit analysis, and you don't know the uniqueness of your product. Yours is just a bloody Me Too product. How is it going to work? So unaware of competitors and changing market condition, lack of innovation, wrong salary combinations. For example, suppose you are a newcomer in a film industry, and there are too many competitors. There is Shraddha Kapoor, there is Jacqueline Fernandez, and people at different rates are available in the market. So yours is a low budget film. You have to take some local talent, and actually they should pay money for making your movies. See, that's how, there was one K. Balchandar, he's still there. He's a Tamil, who made this, okay, bhai, that Sarita was the heroine in that. Okay, Maro Charitra. Okay, so it first came in Telugu, then also it came in Tamil. So Balchandar was very intelligent director. So of course today Kamal Haasan, Rajinikanth, Sarita, they're all big people. But in those days, he said, okay, Rajinikanth, I'll give you an offer. Come. A small bus conductor in Bangalore, I used to travel in that bus, 36 number. So he made him a superstar. So like that, you should start your business from a small scale and go with a big scale. Not suddenly, in those days, MGR is a very leading hero. Shivaji Ganeshan is a hero. So Balchandar, if he wants to hire Shivaji Ganeshan or MGR for his movies, and Balchandar would never have become Balchandar. So he started with low budget and giving a chance to youngsters, and that's how we did. There was one Puttanna Kanagal also in Kannada. So he also directed our Rajkumar's movies, but Rajkumar was a very high charging in those days. So he brought all these youngsters, like Vishnu Vardhan and many people. So and he produced about 26, 28, 9 movies. All are super hits, national awards. So that is how a startup fellow should also start. I told you about the wrong salary combinations. So combination of branding versus marketing. So for example, I was in Mumbai, okay. I was in the Giants School of Management to deliver a lecture. So I met the CEO of Wagh Bakri. This Wagh Bakri is a local tea brand. Balaji Namkeens is also a local brand. Obviously, they cannot compete with Parle or big brands like Frito-Lays and all, which comes from New York. So whether you want to do branding or you want to do marketing, see, you should acquire a customer, not brand. See, by branding, somebody was asking me, many of my students, they're about to get married. So they asked me a question. Sir, you anyway see horoscope also. So which sort of girl should we marry? Should we marry a very high branded girl from a very big family, or even unbranded, but with respective parameters you can evaluate on your astrology? So I say, bloody fellows, you need not go for those very high brands, IIT graduates, very big family and all that. Even ordinary girls who are very good performing, both will see their astrology and other indicators with market 4 Ps and all that. I evaluate and you marry them and they're happy. So those people who went very high-fi in marriage have been doomed. So you don't try to replicate the Silicon Valley, and most of our branding and marketing simply copying the Western models. That is another reason why they have failed. So obviously the technology infrastructure, now 5G has come. Recently 5G auctions have occurred. Still you are using 4G, you don't know how to bid. I don't know who will get it. Adani is there, Ambani is there. In that 5G competition, they have all paid. Actually, Ambani has paid more caution deposit. Adani has paid less. But I understand that Adani may get this order for 5G. I don't know, what's your opinion? Anyway, cyber security. So some people go with B2B business model. There are some growth decelerators. So all these things, when you see the startup agro ecosystem, we say ecosystem in startups, it should be very, very tricky. And no emotions. What emotion is there? Even when you and me die, within half an hour, they burn you or bury you. That's all gone. Don't be very emotional in business. Be very logical and have SIT, systematic inventive thinking. So be that. So startup funding, actually it has reduced now in 2018. It was at the peak in 2016 when the Modi government took place. See, Swiggy fellow has got the highest fund, whereas other fellow have got less. So I don't know whether, see, Swiggy, these are all, they are running under loss because very high I told you again the question of capital expenditure and operational expenditure, hiring too many people. See, Swiggy and Zomato fellows, everybody, the moment you have a bike, they give you the t-shirt and then you take a bag and start moving. So that's it. And I think we're, so be very fine. All these things we have told enough. So we'll quickly come to the major share in failure is, the maximum, the yellow one, improper team. Your team is full of ego. Okay, all big CEOs, big guns. In Telugu, there is a saying. Many times my wife used to say this. Because she is a Telugu lady and I am a Karnataka fellow. Ma tatulu netulu tagaru, ma mutulu vasana chudandi. That means the team with full ego. I am a big shot, I am a big shot. Therefore, I have to be paid. I am the CEO, I am the director. So the other reason is the blue one. They become bankrupt by very high operational expenditure. So, there is a technology, but these are all minor reasons. They don't know about the knowledge about the field. I see many engineer fellows coming into agri startups who neither have a BSc, they don't know what is an organic fertilizer, they don't know what is inorganic fertilizer, they don't know how to identify an organic product. Okay, and there is no attraction in the customers because you see, especially in the agri input industry, nobody cares for your packing and your lipstick branding and all that. Whether urea is packed in a golden bag or it's packed in a silver bag, nobody bothers. So some of those issues you should always be ready. So let me quickly conclude. Time up. Thank you, Agri Information. So small businesses have a vital role. Okay, unemployment report, a better startup performance having less unemployment rate. Okay, you should employ less people. I told you those are industry. Government and institutions need to work more on employability rather than employment. See, now employability is different, employment is different. Simply by hiring, there was a movie called Shivaji, Rajinikanth. So he says, Singam Vavarda Varanda, okay, only that pig will come in thousands of numbers. Always lion comes alone. Very beautifully Rajinikanth told. So your employability as a lion is more important than employing 100 pigs who do not have any skills. So better economy and young people have to begin innovative startups. So you should think that how to innovate and work. Just because you are the son of a rich person and your father has given you a very big building and you have a lot of money, don't think you can venture as a startup. So, and also create a conducive atmosphere to scale up. So thank you very much. So there are so many other things. I'll be sharing a video also with you to the audience. This PPT is already shared. So why startups have failed. Also, I will be sharing with Rajni ma'am, and then she will give it to you. You can always use it. They will upload on the website. So thank you very much. I stop sharing the screen and the session is now open for discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. I'll take up the questions from the participants now. The first question is, for an agriculture related startup to success, what are the main factors in your opinion?
Yeah, so it's a nice question because we are all been converging for agriinformation.com, and it's a very relevant question as well. Especially in the agri ecosystem, we have two issues. Always, I may mention in my classes as well. One is the input factorization. Please, observe my English very carefully. So it is input factorization versus product commercialization, output commercialization. That those issues are not there in the industrial or a software ecosystem. See, for example, suppose you take software company, is only, it works on human resource. All that you require is an internet connection, a very highly qualified software engineer who can work on Java, Bava, Android Studio, MIT App Inventor, and so on. But in case of agri thing, the input industry takes almost about 45 to 50% of the share. The other 50% of the marketing is by the output, how you are going to brand it, commercialize it, and establish a supply chain and all that. So therefore, those who are venturing into the agri startups cannot make an exploitative supply chain. They have to help the farmers in input factorization or reducing the cost of that supply chain inputs and seeing that the inputs are delivered into the door with whatever business model, and at the same time help our farmers to also market their outputs. But what these fellows are doing in the startup in agri industry is they are very interested to sell their inputs. But when it comes to their output and buyback and commercializing them, branding them, marketing them, they are not helping them. So this has become a British rule type of an exploitative startup culture in agri, which is definitely not pardonable, not acceptable. And definitely as an agri-scientist, I don't want these sort of exploitative startups to come in agriculture. And that too, very personally saying, those who are not BSc or those who don't have agriculture background, and that too coming from urban areas because they could not get a good software engineering job in Chicago or in Mindtree or anything, why should they come and exploit us? You help our farmers on both fronts. Again, I repeat, the two fronts very important in agriculture, and agriinformation.com being such a wonderful organization, work on the input factorization and the output commercialization. Until you do these two things, you will not succeed in the 6,48,000 villages of India. Thank you.
Sir, can you please tell us about how you have been associated with startups personally?
No, these are some are confidential because I've been on the jury, and then I evaluate startups, I teach, and then I run training courses for these fellows. And obviously, I told you my background. Even today, I teach a PGDMA program, Postgraduate Diploma Management in Agriculture. I am on the faculty of NARM, NIAM, and Manage. And then I am on the jury boards, and then I evaluate the startups, and I'm a consultant to a dozen companies. And I keep seeing there, especially for the FPOs. So I've been even free of cost. I don't want any money from these fellows. I tour extensively, help the FPOs, farmer producer organizations, on these two fronts, especially the input factorization and product commercialization. Are you able to hear?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so therefore, my association is, I became a bit emotional as well, seeing that, our agri startup fellows are exploiting them. So somewhere down the line, of course, I don't claim very high about myself, but somewhere down the line, to avoid their exploitation, I've been doing all this.
Okay, that's very nice, sir. I'll move on to the next question. Do you think agriculture startups will be able to disrupt Indian agriculture in a big way?
Definitely. This is the $1 million answer you have told. I'm not saying you asked the question. You have given the answer, especially in Atmanirbhar Bharat and the Azadi Ke Amrit Mahotsav. Small innovations coming from our 6,48,000 villages have changed the ecosystem. They have changed the landscape of agribusiness today in India. And especially with things like natural farming, so many things coming into place. There is a strange and a very, very huge movement which is taking place in our agriculture sector that many of our urban counterparts are not aware, but it is a silent technological revolution, not just for making profit, but I can openly and proudly say that India is the one which is going to lead the next generation agriculture in the world. Don't think of US or Israel. They are all very high technologies. We are going to come out with low cost and no cost appropriate technologies, not only for Indian agriculture, and we are going to be the leaders. And I'm very proud about it.
Okay. Do you think a startup culture is also required within the Indian agriculture research system like ICAR, IIHR, agriculture universities, etc.?
Yeah. This is a question, of course, even last time also we touched upon this issue. See, today all the ICR institutes are having a BPD, Business Planning and Development Unit. IIHR has got a best thought. Okay, so and NARM has got a technology business incubator, idea, and agriculture universities also are having these entrepreneurship cells and technology business startup incubation centers and training centers are there. So their main aim is to commercialize the technology, write a detailed business plan, write a detailed project report, get it funded, and then pitch fund the proposals, and then promote the startups. That's how we incubate them. Day in and day out, we have been doing. So, and that is how that has become the basis of my presentations in class, where you have been giving very good opportunities for me. And in fact, I got a lot of publicity because of Agri Information. So we have been doing it. Both ICR and Agri University have already done this. There are commercial ventures are there, and any startup can go into their website, register, pay the license fee, and get incubated startups. And in fact, many of our best taught incubators have become unicorns, 2 or 3 fellows. So there is one Megatron. So they do the sensors, for evaluating the fruit fly in mango, because they're all our export mangoes. Just by passing light, it says which is the mango with fruit fly, which is the mango without fruit fly. So RFID has come where, you get the traceability of a product, whether it is organic, inorganic, which farmer did it. All those things have already been very efficiently done in a supply chain. It's already there. So people have been doing. ICR and agriculture universities today are doing hand-holding, startup, stand-up culture has been promoted by our ICR and agriculture university and the government system. And you have got the various incubation cells, even by the state governments. Fantastic movement. See, but the only thing is, the so-called startup culture, they don't get that much publicity. Like suddenly you release a software, they eat away your publicity. Yesterday I was asking my wife. See, for example, now today is Janmashtami, we are going to do puja and fast and all that. Are we going to do it for publicity, or are we going to do it by heart? So our agri startups are all doing it by heart. They don't want much publicity, but already it is going on. But only thing is the urban fellows, they take more publicity, like cinema stars, their acting may not be so great, but they take more publicity than required. So Einstein once told that the bag should not be costlier than the meat inside it. So we are all like that. Our products and our startup culture is fantastic, madam. We should be very proud to say that you are an agri-Indian startup. Fantastic.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We have now completed the round of questions. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, like to thank Dr. V.K. Jayaraghavendra Rao for the talk and for answering all the questions in detail. I also like to thank all the participants in the meeting. This meeting will now be closed.
No, only one thing, madam. I will share you some of the resource materials. You can pass it on to our viewers and those who are attending.
Sure, sir. Sure.
I will send it on your WhatsApp, or I'll send it to Vijay or Jay.
Yeah, you can send it, sir. We have also shared your shared your contact details with the participants, sir. They also will establish contact.
Okay, right. No problem. Okay. Thank you very much. I once again thank agriinformation.com for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And I keep learning as a student daily, madam. Thank you very much.
Most welcome, sir. Nice to have you here.
Shall I leave the meeting, madam?
Sure, sir.
Okay, thank you.